Fáilte roimh go dtí an Gailearaí atá loníthe seo a buir gró lídór. Úna Campbell atá mar stúrthar an Gailearaí agus lí blianta bag an nuas tá sí cáú cuasaí álainne sa tíú seo tíre a tórt cinnerat, a tórt cóirle, a tórt cúidú dá ís álainne na héite bíú sin óg ná ústa. Ach níl an Gailearaí teantaithe tíos tíad a cheoranne éitiúil a heirid mar go bhíon tuispantais náisiúnta agus tuispantais idirnáisiúnta ar siúla go níon seo fasta. Rud santas á bhaine tá tarlúin sa cheantar lethar na huaí ná an méid alíontarí atá a cruthú agus a síú in seo. Sílam héin go déan sin go mór chun soir na héite mar áhar go mar alíontarí mar hátarí an talis agus go déan sin lí sláinte anima agus spedadailte an cheantar. Níos mó acu tám, níos fallaine braithim atá an cheantar. Sin taine thugam go minic ar an naid seo na Bohemia of the Bogs, de bhar an líon alíontarí atá a féimniúna agus a gríomhna lethar na huaí. Is cínealta St. Ives a Cléomh atá gaiinn seo a lethar na huaí. Cúis bráid agus dóthais dúine fasta an méid daoine a giste a brandúir na tuispantais éagsúla a bhíon ar siúla gaiinn seo a gathú na blian. Fine sé é sin go bhfuil an nálaí mar dhréimheo in sa phobal go bhfuil éit léirne ag an nálaí a súil agus a siúlat na naoine in seo. Brian fasta go bhfuil ré úr take chun cin a dacha leis an nálaí in seo. Ré atá níos dóthasaí agus ré atá níos dearafá.
Fáilte ródaín, talúhar an go decorát hátaiste fá tháinig córa bagasta faoin tuispantas a thar dúine.
Yeah, I'm delighted to see it all again because it's been a couple of months at least, and just really sad it's been closed down that long.
Cadsta na hónaí a Donegal?
I've been here for 40 years.
Cén foié a danig tú go dtí an éit seo?
It's a better place to live, basically. And I grew up in London, and we had 2 small children at the time, and I didn't know Donegal, but I had actually seen it in the distance when I was a student in Belfast before for a couple of years. But we were in the fortunate situation of having enough money to buy a small patch of land, and land was very, very reasonably priced in Donegal at that time, and so that was it really.
Haar mar an blianta dáiste ráhaintere. Beidir go réithre a stílrodbag, a dan tú bháin dírí a réhar a bhain, sisin an tíú tíre. Cén taran to take shot it?
I was always drawn to landscape painting, and before that I was doing land art, which involved making embroidery and taking it to interesting places and burying it, and that was really a kind of a tribute to the beauty and the fragility of the landscape we live in. So then when we arrived here, I kind of felt that conceptual art, which land art was sort of considered as, wasn't really easy to communicate at that stage in 1980. So I thought, well, I might as well do some of the traditional stuff, which is painting. And I had, even though I'd been doing painting, fine art at college in Wimbledon, I hadn't done any painting there at all, so I just decided, well, I'd just get stuck in and I just self-taught, and that's probably the best way of doing anything creative. It's just to follow your instinct and get on with it. So I particularly like going out into a beautiful place or somewhere you can go and see what you can do, because it's a kind of defined parameter that basically you do what you can for as long as you can. It's slightly different from the Impressionists, I feel, which is my root inspiration probably, are the Impressionist plein air painters. In that I like to think that when they were at places like the south of France, the weather would stay very consistent, so they could paint one day and then go back the second day and carry on. But it's far more interesting in Donegal because the weather just is totally unexpected, 4 seasons in a day. And so it's really it's almost a sport, in that you have to be prepared for anything. You have to think about wind and rain, obviously, and the insects, and shadow also, and you can't have full sun on your canvas. So many different things to think about, let alone whether you're in somebody's field and they're going to come and shout at you. So, and then finding the beautiful situations and setting up the composition. It's very, very stimulating. It doesn't always work out, but when it does work out, it's terrifically exciting.
Bonnet usat gimmick as pentra the plein air, Deering grib seo an dói bonusa do the ween a bru. And chocolate rud began to for sure.
Yeah, well, I've just said a good bit about it, but some people like to do that. A lot of artists prefer to work in the studio, and it's not either or, they're just completely different things. I'm actually thinking much more about studio work now, because at age 69 I have to be aware that plein air painting could be a little bit dangerous. In fact, Cézanne died at age 66, I think, from catching a chill painting outside. But so I'm doing as much plein air painting as possible. The problem with me when I do stuff in the studio, I never know when to finish a painting. Whereas when you're out on a hillside or something, you finish when you're totally exhausted, or you think you've got the painting finished, or there's nothing else that you can work out how to do with it, and you have to go home so the painting's finished. But in the studio, you just go back the next day and think, well, I could do a little bit more. So that's a little bit confusing, but I'm getting my head around it now.
Agus a hirstir na Ian, Kinsbragu about who's in the show.
Well, I consider that I've had a really fortunate life. I was brought up in a middle-class family that there was no shortage of anything particularly, and I was always encouraged to go to galleries and concerts and soak up culture. And as a result, I think it's a real privilege to launch oneself into creating artwork for other people to look at. What are we without culture? What's the world without that? At this time we've all been locked down. Everyone's mental health is dependent on not only the food and shelter and everything like that, but culture is extremely important, and I feel very blessed that I can give hopefully a very positive message to the world, that it's a fantastically beautiful planet we're on. Be careful with it, and hopefully we can continue.
Tishbantasli Ian Gordon ta crochu in sa Gailearaí a lahar na Huige mar chud den Earagail Arts Festival féle alinne in Earagail. Alíonn tar éitiúil atá in íon agus tá farsanneat agus síniú saoíata buint leis na réircanna seo. Ceiliúrú atá fariste bhí dór a tan chuid is móda na réircanna site mána faring bhna leacha. Alíonn tar anna chailiúil íon agus tá sihir mór deanta ga tharna blianta tóirt an tíb tíre seo chun sális go comasa agus go fellite inach híhir alíne. Ian Gordon is an artist who conveys our local landscape with an exciting, fresh vision. He reveals it anew in these paintings. He illuminates small moments with a lyrical intensity, with a clarity, with a rapt contemplation. I think that's what accounts for the poetic impulse of these paintings. Tá luaran go bhfuil sihir íon agan in sa Gailearaí a láthair na Huaithe, ach na héisin cospar agus ain agus aislín in Gailearaí, sean sa pórta alíontarí éitiúil sihir a chur a scór a fógaí. Mar a dúirt sémas híní blianta chuin an hangi fillita hay, making space for the marvelous.
So yeah, what inspired this particular exhibition? Living up 5 to 10 miles away from Gailearaí, we looked to the west across Gailearaí to the Atlantic beyond. We can just see it in the distance, in the light, and then the sun sets in the evening that way. And I often wonder about the area that is Gailearaí, because it doesn't seem to have a centre to the houses are scattered, and that probably set me off thinking about visually, because this gallery is here, it seemed obvious for me to paint all around this area and bring it together as a collection of views. So I wrote a little text piece about how I felt about my mind moving down across Gailearaí and seeing it, and even rising up in the air. And I made a little book about looking from above and seeing the houses scattered, apparently higgledy-piggledy, but actually there's all kinds of reasons why the little clackens of housing are in certain places, and it's a very natural relationship with the landscape. It was nice actually to make it into a little handmade book with my illustrations in it as well. I'm up above Gailearaí flying around, and as I descend, I'm looking around for a place to paint. And when you actually are driving around in a car looking for places to paint, you're constantly aware of, oh, I can't paint in this place because I'll be in front of that house and they might not like it. Or then there's so many little turning ways, and then you go over the little brow, and then you get this amazing view, and there's so many different roads that I never drove along before. And sometimes, particularly I think in this sort of area, you get a certain amount of land held in common between houses, and anyone can just go and paint there, and that's fantastic because it's not like a controlled agricultural landscape where you might have to ask for permission or just set up painting beside the road, which I do sometimes, or in a village or whatever. But I was looking for those perfect places, and the one or two paintings that I call the perfect view. In fact, that was another thing that I haven't talked about, which is I did one called The Perfect View, and then because I liked how it came out, I then did a larger version in the studio, and that worked out for me, so it was great. But often I wouldn't actually do that, but because it was a sort of structural thing, some of the looking for a perfect composition, sometimes you feel you've just hit on a device. Some of the historic artists would call it by names like that. So you think, wow, I just hit it. It's ringing like a bell, this composition. And what happens if I make it larger, or if I did it again in different light or in different tones? Because I'm aware over the course of 30 or so years painting that my palette has changed quite a bit, in that I partly because I'm older, I'm more into grey and the subtleties of grey, and the whole palette is toned down and muted. Although, having said that, there are places where it's very, very vibrant indeed, and that's sometimes just because you get to somewhere and it's so exciting, you just want every single colour. But generally, if I can remain calm, and obviously it helps if you've got a grey sky, you can do the grey paintings, which I actually kind of prefer now. So as the sequence of paintings went on, and I started probably about May 2019 and was painting 1 or 2 or 3 a month probably through the rest of 2019, because so often the weather is just not suitable, and so I'm seizing the days when it is suitable. And then I was coming up to the new year, and in December I thought I had 2 large canvases left, so it was a bit of a deadline. I quite like deadlines. December I went up to Plein, which is the highest point looking over Gailearaí, and it was a still day, no wind, no rain, and there was a certain amount of sun. It was great, and I just found a place on the road. I just set it up and painted what is quite a vibrant painting with red foreground of the rocks and the bog, looking out past the houses, over the hills into the distance to the south. And wow, like 3 hours putting the canvas up against the car and on my knees on the road and just working away. And I think it was December the 22nd. Who can expect that kind of experience in the end of December to put it in the car? It's like butter. You've got to be super careful not to smudge anything. And then I get it home. And usually the thing with my paintings is I can't look at them once I get home, because there's so many reasons that parts of it are wrong or right, and I should go and look at them. But if you look at them, it's kind of a fatal mistake, because you don't want to touch them. But because you can't see, your mind you've lost your capacity to make rational decisions about what's on the canvas. And so I had to leave it for like 10 days before I could even look at it, and then I liked it, fortunately.
Hi, I'm Una Campbell, and I'm the creative director of Gailearaí, and I'd like to thank Ian for coming in today to talk to Kathleen, our assistant curator, to talk more about this new body of work that he's made. Thanks a million, Ian. And Gailearaí is a public gallery, and we were established in 1998, and we're dedicated to the production of a contemporary Gaeltacht expression. To do this, quite often we mix the disciplines, poetry, literature, music, and the like, and we dip into that rich well that is our cultural heritage. We shine a spotlight on it and reimagine it, reappropriate it, and represent it. In this way, we add to the river that is our language and our culture. Access to these productions is critical to an gallery. Not everybody has been into a visual art gallery, and we feel nobody should feel uncomfortable coming into a visual art gallery. It's a public gallery, and so it's your gallery. We work with a plethora of community groups, schools of all levels, and are constantly seeking ways to get new people into this space and participate in our activities. Our footfall is very healthy, even though we're located in the northwest corner of Donegal. But what the global pandemic has taught us and really forced us to consider is we need to think about new ways of accessing a wider audience and new ways for the audience to access us. So we are currently engaging in upgrading our digital media and all sorts of additions like that. So watch this space. But in the meantime, do look at our website, Gailearaí, ANGALEAI.com, and you will be able to see our whole back catalogue of 20 plus years of exhibitions and hundreds of artists. I hope you like what you see and watch this space. Thank you.